For all this time, I've been following other people's rules, and all I had to do, that's been right there for me to do, is to make up my own rules. And we're going to talk about that today. I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Reflection Hour with your host, Sydney. So, maybe you noticed initially, and if you didn't, okay, that means I need to upgrade again. I decided to do a different mic today. So usually when I'm doing this podcast, I like to make it a voice note on my phone, and I use a little lavalier mic which you usually put on your shirt or something and you don't talk into directly, and it has a mini pop filter. So a pop filter is what filters out those P's and those buzz like that really hit in your ear on a microphone. And I just been noticing when I listen back to my podcast that I was really frustrated by the fact that some of those P's and those B's would be very pronounced and it would not sound great in the ear. Okay. And I was like, all right, you know what? I guess I have to record on my computer again. So that's what I'm doing. And the reason I don't like to record on my computer is because it's from 2018. It was a great computer when I got it, but I've just noticed that it's gotten very slow. I don't have enough memory on my computer, so when it's synthesizing all this information, it starts to overheat really fast. I'm actually hearing it overheat as I speak. And I'm just like, oh, I'd rather just talk into the little microphone connected to my phone, and it will be so much easier and I won't have to deal with all this other bullshit. But you know what? The sound and quality of this podcast means so much to me that I am grinning and bearing it until I can actually get a new computer. So that's the skinny that you didn't ask for that I am letting you know. So, what are we talking about today? What was I thinking about today? So, strangely, I was sitting outside in the backyard and I wasn't listening to anything. I wasn't on my phone. And I really like to do this. I don't know if you like to do this yourself, but I don't want to be super glued to my phone. I don't think it's healthy. I think that it really takes you out of the present moment. I think it can really keep you in your head over analyzing, thinking that people are out to get you and this and that and whatever. And I just think it's overstimulating at the end of the day. And I'm not down for that at all. In all honesty, I don't really know what's been in the air lately because I have really not been wanting to be overstimulated. And I think that's ultimately a great thing because I think it's so easy to scroll endlessly on your phone and to be caught in this, I don't even know, like this psychosis, like this social media psychosis. And it feels like you've watched every video and you've seen every type of video and you're like, why am I even staring at this anymore? What is the point of me looking at this at all? Oh, there's no point. I am just bored and I don't want to deal with maybe deeper stuff going on beneath the surface. So instead, I'm just scrolling and I'm getting endless dopamine hits. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely what's happening. And I decided to take some time today and really not stare at my phone and really not scroll through social media. And as I was sitting outside, I was just having this really nice connection with myself, with my environment. It's so green outside. The sun was shining on me. It was so wonderful and it wasn't super hot. And I just was feeling this overwhelming sense of gratitude and presence, and it felt like everything was okay and there was nothing to worry about. And I think that's ultimately how I want to feel all the time. I don't know about you, but it's nice to know that you're supported by God, universe, source, and that everything's going to be okay. There could be stuff going on around you in the world, but if you can be grounded in the present moment, that's where the support comes from. Like, ultimately, that's what I think, at least. You don't have to agree with me, but that's what I have experienced in my life. And it's interesting because I think a lot of times I do tend to overanalyze situations and where I'm at in my life. And when you start to do that, you can begin to compare yourself to other people, but it's like you don't really know what another person's life is like. They don't really know what your life is like. So you can maybe make comparisons based on surface level information that you know about this person, but you don't really know who this other person is, okay? Unless you are fully in their world. And even then, partners don't know their other partners as well as they think. So you should really focus on getting to know yourself rather than trying to be appealing to other people, because it's one of those things where it's wasted energy. Like, you're never going to be appealing to everyone, right? You should really only try to appeal to yourself. You should only appeal to yourself. Do as best you can to become the best version of yourself where you'd want to marry that person. You're like, oh, damn, like I'm becoming the person I want to marry. And that's something that I'm thinking about because that is how I'm looking at it now. I didn't always look at it that way, but instead of searching for someone to marry you, like marry that ideal version of yourself. Become her, become him. And then by virtue of the law of attraction, right, you attract what you are. So I think oftentimes people are listening to other people in these techniques and, oh, this is how you can trick someone into doing this, or go to this location to meet these type of people. Like, ultimately, I do believe that the world is our mirror. And so if you think that something outside of you is going to save you from yourself, like a person that you're in relationship with is going to save you from yourself, it's not. And I promise you, you're going to end up with more issues than you probably wanted in the first place because you keep trying to run away from yourself. But all of those experiences are only causing you to have to confront yourself, which is the irony of it all. And that's why the world is our mirror. And if you are always the victim, it's because there's something going on deep below the surface that you don't want to deal with. And it's not to say that it was fair or anything like that, meaning the belief systems that you were passed down and the experiences that you've had. No one really knows why things happen to people. We don't. But you can get to a level of consciousness where I believe you can be in a dominant energy, and that dominant energy is going to attract all of the experiences that you have in your life. So, if you are the type of person who truly feels abundant and truly feels like life is amazing, you are always going to experience things that reinforce that dominant frequency that you hold. And what this looks like is if you're a super anxious person or you grew up around people who projected a lot of their anxieties onto you, that will have an impact on your nervous system. And everyone's nervous system responds differently to different stimuli. I do have a belief that a lot of what was projected onto us as children, so that's dominant behaviors, if there was a mother or father who's super anxious and like, or a hypochondriac or anything like that, I think that energy gets passed on to the child and manifests itself in autoimmune diseases and things like that. I'm sure there's definitely science on this as well. I mean, I am pretty sure because I've looked into it before, but I don't know it well enough to speak in depth on it. I just know that I definitely see, that was kind of weird. I definitely see how those two could be linked because the body keeps the score. So if the body has all these pent up feelings of aggression or anxiety or anything like that, it will, and it's related to a certain aspect within the psyche of the individual. Like, perfect example, myself. So for most of my life, ever since I was about like 7 or 8, I have had issues with my gut. Now, this culminated in, actually, I don't remember the year, but I was 14 years old, and it was such an uncomfortable moment for me. And it was like my gut was completely backed up. And I remember going to the doctor and I got an ultrasound of my digestive system and I was like completely backed up. And I had a lot of gut issues. And I still have these gut issues. And I think the gut is connected to your intuition. And I know that I have a very strong intuition, but there have been a lot of times in my life where I've doubted that and I haven't followed that. And as a result, I got myself into issues. And I think the fact that I've had gut issues for pretty much my entire life signifies to me that for a lot of my life, I was going against my intuition. I knew that I was supposed to do something. And I feel this way. I don't know what happened when I was 7 or 8 or whatever age it was, where I stopped really being myself and hiding myself. And I think that's where a lot of my issues really stem from. But there was some moment at that age. And then ever since then, I have been dealing with gut issues because I have not been fully tapped in to my intuition as to what it's been telling me to do, like what my purpose is here. And who's to say I'll ever truly find it? I think I will. I think I will because I've had this deep desire to do that, to align with it. And I just have to follow my intuition as to what I need to do to get there and stop overthinking it. And I realize that I don't even know. I guess you just have to go with the flow, and it's not easy. And going against the grain and making your own path is not easy. And I remember when I started creating content in 2020, I don't even remember why I started it. I think I was bored. I was in the house. I had been making some voice notes since maybe like late 2018. But I think I have some from earlier than that, but where I was more consistent and talking about things that I was going through because I didn't feel like writing that day in my journal. It was another outlet for me. And then I eventually worked up to creating videos on YouTube, and that was really cool. And I was just creating it about anything, and I was making sure and challenge myself that I was going to post a new video a day during the summer, and I did that. And I remember after like 3 months or something like that, I had a really viral video. It was like over 300,000 views, and it made it so that I had like thousands of people follow me. And at one point, I had a YouTube channel that had like over 8,000 subscribers. And then I really started to not post as much because I think the video that I went viral for, it was in a specific niche that wasn't necessarily super aligned with me. It was more so that I knew it was trending and I made a video on it, and that was it. But I've been creating content since 2020 and it's now 2026, and it's kind of crazy to think that I've been doing this for that long. I honestly thought that I would always just kind of jump from one thing to the next, but when I reflect back on it, that's not true. That's not true. This has been the one thing that has been super consistent in my life. That shit is actually wild to me. That is wild. Wild. Oh my God. I'm kind of having like a moment right now. But I have tried to go down the paths that have been laid out for me in terms of career and how you're supposed to live your life. And my life has not been that whatsoever at all. And I am grateful for that. I think there was one point in my life when I literally thought, like, why the fuck am I here? Seriously. It seems like everything I do is wrong. It seems like I go down this path and it works for a little bit, and then it's like, oh, actually, no. And why? Why does this keep happening to me? Like, why can I not get it together, babe? Like, why can't I get it together? And I guess that's where I'm at right now. Although I do recognize now that I have a path forward. At least I have a North Star that I guess I've kind of always known, which was I enjoy doing this. So I'm just going to keep doing this and we'll see what happens, because this is a thing that I love to do. And sometimes I do think we overcomplicate things for no reason other than we like to suffer. Okay? I think some of us, we like to suffer, babe. Let's be honest. We like to suffer. We do. So this actually relates to a quote from this book, In the Zone, by Dr. J. Mitchell Perry and Steve Jameson, Achieving Optimal Performance in Business as in Sports. So yeah, that's the name of the book. That's what's on the cover. And the quote is, pressure is what you make it out to be. You can't be thinking about winning or losing before or during a match, or it's all over before it's even started. And this was my issue, okay? I would be thinking about, oh my gosh, I'm here right now. I enjoy creating content. I want to be living La Vida Loca everywhere in the world. I can work from anywhere. It's fun. I get to talk and yap online, but I'm not there right now. Oh, sad. Yeah, of course it's sad. That's just how life is. You have to build up to things. But I was getting too caught up in the pressure of, I want this to be something now. And I wasn't enjoying the process. Like, I was enjoying the process until I wasn't. And I would say the moment when I stopped enjoying the process was when I actually found some success with that viral video and I had made like some money off of it. And I was like, okay, cool. But now how do I just keep up with this? And I think I also got a little too big for my bridges, right? Is that the saying? I definitely was not being smart with how I was handling my money at the time. And I also think I hadn't really built the discipline of having a schedule for my videos and just like a lot of different things that I learned were the reason why I wasn't able to sustain it. You have to have a foundation of, I think, business acumen if you're going to create content. You also have to be disciplined and you have to be consistent. And if you are just randomly posting a video and no one can really expect when you're going to post it or what they can really expect from the type of content that you're creating, you're not going to be able to truly build a community. And you can convince yourself, oh yeah, I'm really doing the work. I'm a content creator. But if you're not really structured well, it's a hobby that's paying you some money. But you can't quit everything and say YOLO and really be real, or because you're not being real to yourself about the fact that you're running away and you're still in survival mode. And that's definitely what was going on for me. But I think I had to really look at it as, you can enjoy the craft of creating content or in whatever form that is, but you also have to be structured in your approach. Like, you really, really do. So this kind of brings me to this other quote from that book. By focusing strictly on our own standard of performance, we were able to play the bigger games very, very well because it was basically business as usual. The point is that the standard of performance is what counts. The score takes care of itself. And that's the thing, right? If you're so focused on you becoming the best version of yourself, you leveling up your skills, you putting yourself out there, you being structured, you being disciplined, you will be able to handle the pressure. You're not able to handle the pressure when your foundation is weak. And that's what I've learned from my past experiences. When I think back to 2020, my foundation was made of sand. There was no strength to it whatsoever. There was no strength to a lot of my character too. I think I was being challenged in ways, like with some of the videos that I put out and how people responded to me. I learned how to deal with people talking shit on the internet. It doesn't matter unless you think it matters. And I think that's kind of a really big lesson for life. And I would say is one of the major benefits of creating content online is you learn to develop a thick skin when it comes to what people think about you. Because unfortunately, in day-to-day life, Everybody thinks that everyone thinks about them. And on some level, people are really gossipy and do that. But if you decide to opt out and you decide that it doesn't matter and I'm going to follow my own damn rules because it's my life, no one will be able to fuck with that. They won't. They'll try. Oh, Lord, will they try? They will try so hard, okay? They will try so freaking hard. And I actually love when people do this to me. When people test me, oh, it's when I shine. It's when I shine because I believe I come off very docile. I come off as being very naive. And most of the times when I am ditzy and like whimsical, that is who I am. Like that is literally who I am. But when I need to lock in, I lock in. And a lot of times I'm so in the moment and I'm not overthinking an interaction as it's going on. So I'm not strategizing how I'm interacting with you. I might say something and that's really how I feel at the moment. And then later on, I'll do some reflecting. I'm like, you know what? Actually, I don't really know if I agree with that so much. I would have probably said that a different way. Or actually, I don't think I want to do that thing anymore. I want to do this thing. So I told you that I was going to do this, and this, and blah, 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 blah. But after some reflecting, I actually changed my mind. So it's like, you could maybe think that way of me, but I've changed, because I'm constantly getting new information and reflecting on things. And I'm not afraid to change. I'm not afraid to admit that I was wrong or that, I'm just not afraid to change. And I think a lot of people are afraid to change, and that's on you. Like, I don't really care what you're doing in your life. I have had to become very comfortable with change, which is why I don't mind change. But I do understand that a lot of people don't like change, don't do well with change, but it's also because of how they're thinking about change. Somewhere in your life, it was reflected back to you, or you developed the belief that change was bad. I don't know what happened, but change is the only inevitability. So if you can love change, that's the ideal place to be looking at. So I think I'm going to actually read this short excerpt from this book, In the Zone, because I think it's really relevant to what I'm saying. Because ultimately, like, how you feel about change, right, is going to be how you experience the change. And likewise to that, what you focus on is what is going to expand in your life. So you may recall, this is the start of the paragraph, you may recall an interesting phenomenon that occurred last time you purchased a new car. Once you made the decision to buy the automobile, you immediately became aware of how many other buyers had purchased the exact same car and in the same color you had. Whereas you may have noticed a few on the road previously, it now seemed as if your new automobile was the car of choice. This is because what you focus on expands. If you buy a new set of Ping golf clubs, you'll probably become aware of all those other golfers who also have the same clubs, even the same colored grips. Buy a new Rolex, and suddenly you'll notice how many people have the same watch. The reason for this is very logical. You seek corresponding evidence supporting whatever you have chosen to invest time, money, or effort in. When your first child arrived, suddenly everyone you talked with had a brand new baby. And what kind of diapers do you think are best? You ask them. Was it a coincidence? No, it happens because what you focus on, a purchase or a new baby, expands. It is a normal reaction and one that has enormous potential for helping or hurting you in the following way. When you are focused on the process of performance, of doing, your mind will effortlessly and automatically begin to seek out supporting evidence and information to help you accomplish the task at hand. Conversely, when your focus has been broken and shifted, when you are taken out of the present by the force of polar thinking and the critical advisor, your mind will seek to support whatever negative perspective they bring forth. In effect, you will attempt to give validation to the counterproductive scenario produced by your critical advisor. So in my last episode, I was talking about this book again, and I was saying how there was the critical advisor and something else. So the something else was the polar thinking. And I have been saying that, what's it called? Statement, what you focus on expands, for quite some time, because it's so freaking true. Like, and you'll notice it around you. When you are too focused on everything bad going on, you are going to experience that. It's going to be like, oh my gosh, this happened and that. And just think about it. Okay. So when you wake up in the morning or this, not maybe you, but the proverbial you, wake up in the morning, you stub your toe on your bed and it's like, oh, and you just feed into that energy. And you're like, oh my God, blah, blah. You have this whole reaction. And then you go into your bathroom and then you turn on the faucet. It sprays at you. Oh my God, what? Another bad thing. You feed into it. And then you get in your car and then you see there's 10 or like 30 minutes of traffic. Oh my God. But you just go throughout this whole day. You keep feeding this energy of like, what's going on? Like, everything's going wrong with me today, blah, 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 blah. And then that's what you experience. Versus if you get out of your bed, you stub your toe, you're like, you know what? I didn't see that, but it's going to be a great day anyway. And then you just have a positive outlook on everything. It seems like everything gets progressively better in your day. It's because you're focusing on the good and you're expanding the good in your life, okay? And this goes along with making your own rules. Like, you can make your own rules and you kind of just have to affirm to yourself that you're making your own rules. Oh, yeah, sure, that thing didn't work out. I didn't get that job, whatever. But this is because this is pushing me towards something even better. And just being grateful that it's sunny outside, being grateful that you have legs that you can walk with, be grateful that you have breath in your lungs and that you have another day that you get to live. Gratitude is the attitude. I always say this. Gratitude is the attitude, okay? It is the attitude. And the more that you can be grateful, the more that you can appreciate the journey, the more that you can not get so tied up in, oh, well, I want to be a billionaire tomorrow, stat. And if I'm not there tomorrow, stat, then I should just be miserable. No, okay? Like, try embodying the billionaire energy now, and then you will feel that way now, which is what you want to feel or what you think being a billionaire will make you feel anyway. So just feel that way now, because all we have is now. All we have is the present moment. You can make that decision right now. So make the decision. So this is a quote from the book, The Magic of Believing by Claude M. Bristol. I freaking love this book, okay? I have read this book over 10 times, and I will read it even more. I love it so much. I think it's such a great book. I will link it in the show notes. I 10 out of 10 recommend this book. It is so great. And it's one of those things where repetition is key. So the more that you read it, the more that you're going to pick up on things that you didn't pick up on the previous time that you read it. So let's begin. All great men are men of quick decision, which flows from their intuition, their accumulated knowledge, and previous experience. So learn to be quick in making decisions and audacious in your actions. So I really like this in conjunction with what we've been talking about, because I have definitely been thinking about this idea of me creating my own path and making up my own rules, as opposed to abiding by the rules that others have told me I have to live by. And I have to decide that I'm going to do that. And I think I've been putting it off, and I've been putting it off because, again, this kind of connects with the intuition thing. I know that this is the right thing for me to do, but it scares me shitless. I'll be honest. I'll be the first to tell you it scares me shitless. It scares me shitless. And I think it's so easy to get into a loop of reading all the books, doing the journaling, watching the videos, joining the courses. But at a certain point, you just have to decide. You have to decide. And I know for a fact that that has been my problem. But the fact to me that I've kept up with making content for the past 6 years, again, flabbergasts me. Oh my God, I can't even see my wins right there. It's not like I'm new to the rodeo. I've been here. I've been doing it. I've been building that foundation. I got to give myself my props. Damn, like I'm awesome actually. I'm awesome. Not me hyping myself up on this podcast. In my room by myself, mind you. Okay. So this is a little bit unrelated, but I do think in terms of getting to that point where you can make that decision for yourself, you are going to likely seek out healers and these coaches and all these other people to help you help yourself, I would hope. Or a lot of people actually just want people to help them and they don't have to do anything. And that was definitely me. So anyway, however, those who understand the science of psychotherapeutics are fairly well agreed that a cure does not come through treatment on the part of the healer nearly so much as it does from the patient himself. In other words, the suggestion, no matter in what form it is given by the healer, whether in accordance with the principles of psychotherapeutics or in conjunction with some special religious belief, is in turn transmitted by autosuggestion to the patient's own subconscious mind, where it becomes effective. The writer realizes that the following statement may invite criticism, but the fact remains that if a patient refuses to believe in the suggestive appeals of the healer, the purpose is never accomplished. The two, the healer and the patient, have to be en rapport to get results. And it is the writer's theory that any person who possesses an understanding of the use of the power of suggestion could get the same results without the aid of a healer, provided he were sufficiently strong and constant in his own convictions and suggestions. The same technique, the cards and the mirror with suitable affirmations, can be used to great advantage. And to me, you have to get to a point, if you're not using a healer, which is really just a person who is there to strengthen your belief in yourself. They're like a hype man. They're helping you hype yourself up because you can't hype yourself up. So you need to pay someone to hype yourself up. Hey, it makes sense. And there's certain levels of the mind that they've tapped into that you haven't tapped into yet. Like, it all makes sense. And I think this is probably one of the reasons why the coaching industry gets a bit of a bad rep. But I do think there are some bad coaches. I mean, there's some bad in every profession, right? This is really not about coaches. My point is that you have to hype yourself up and you have to make a decision. And by you not making a decision, that's a decision. That's a decision. So are you going to decide to make up your own rules and play by your own rules? Are you going to decide to play by someone else's rules? Because it's just easier that way and you don't really care that much. That could very much be the answer. And I'm not here to tell you which way is the right way or the wrong way. I'm telling you what I'm doing and what I have decided after so much time trying to figure things out, trying to put myself on the proper career path, and it feels like nothing really fits because it's not supposed to. Maybe I'm supposed to make it up. Maybe I'm supposed to make it up. So I'm just going to make it up, and we're going to hope for the best over here. And that's how the cookie crumbles. That's how the cookie crumbles. That's how the cookie crumbles. That's how it's crumbling. Yeah. Well, I hoped you enjoyed some of the excerpts that I read from these books. I think of these ideas and I just act on them. Like, it's not there's no real lag time between when I think of something and when I do it. And I think that's a really good strategy. And that is in alignment with me deciding quickly, because I think when you allow there to be too much friction between you getting an idea and then you executing, then you're allowing your magic to not do its thing. You got to put things out there, and you have to trust in your ideas, and you have to trust in your intuition, and your intuition is going to make you millions and billions of dollars, but you're not listening to it. And I haven't been listening to it. So I'm not coming for you. I'm just reflecting back to you. What's going on, babe? What's going on? And you know I'm right. You know I'm right. You know I'm right. So, yeah. If you enjoy this message, thank you. Like, comment, subscribe, and maybe share this with a friend. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye!